New year, new venue, new pants. Who dis? I've been wanting to say that all day. Welcome to PubTalk, my friends. Thank you to you all for joining us. I know there's some people out on the patio who are going to be sad in a little while because they missed all the good stuff, but you know what? To hell with them. Did you guys have a good New Year? I do. I do. Okay. Would you come? Okay, cool. Cool. We should just do an open mic after the show. I'll just give you my best. I'll tell you about my holidays. How were your holidays? Everybody's happy with the new year? Feels good? Feels fresh? Anybody else have new pants? Just me? Okay, well, all right. It's no miss. It's no miss. Am I? Oh, you know where else I am? On the QR code, which we're going to talk about because no one asked my permission about that. Paul Evers. Oh, I can only see the back of my hair, which is not the good part. Welcome to PubTalk, first PubTalk of the year. Thank you, EDCO. New year, new venue, new everything. Thank you, Worthy Brewing, for taking us in. You're very brave, Worthy, and you're doing a great job. I mean, is there a better perfume in the air than fresh chicken strips? You did? Oh, no. I mean, are you a little sweaty? You had to drive all the way across town? At least it's technically on the same street. There's like 36 lights. We stopped at Whole Foods. Hopefully you got a parking spot. Thank you also to Hand in Hand Productions for the multi-room setup and our virtual stream. What a crowd tonight, y'all. This is the biggest crowd we've had in literally years. Why don't you give yourselves a round of applause? I mean, I know Paul Evers is like very famous, but this is a big crowd. So if you're as happy as I am that I'm here, you can thank our MC sponsor, OSU Cascades, who is launching a new signature career program next fall called Cascades Edge. This program is built into the coursework at no additional cost. It starts the very first term with students exploring the right career path for them, and then creating an action plan for college and for career. What makes this program unique is that students pursue professional development at every turn, ranging from resume updates to job shadows to internships to networking, giving them a career edge when they graduate. And I'll tell you what, I need that program. So are you letting 40-somethings into that? Let's talk. So we're able to host PubTalk tonight, both in person and virtually, thanks to our generous event sponsors. You know I love this part. So first up, Jordan Smith, President and CEO at Vlox Systems, EDCO's IT solution. Get on up here, Jordan.
Jordan! Hey. Oh, did it come on? Is it on? Hello? Jack, 1, 2, 3.
Let's try that one.
Jack. Can you guys hear me now?
Can we get the second microphone on?
Hello.
Yellow.
Hello. There. Whoa. All right. Hey guys, my name is Jordan Smith. I'm with Vlox Systems. We're a IT service provider here in Central Oregon. And I've seen some people here in the crowd that I get the pleasure of working with often. I see some Humm Kombucha representatives. There you are. Awesome. Send Transportation. I saw you guys sneak in here up front. Nice work. I'm sure there's more, but I can only read so many name tags. Anyway, it's good to see everybody. And again, thanks to EDCO for putting this on and Worthy for hosting us. I don't know if they expected this turnout. There are a lot of people here. And I know because I walked like a mile from my parking spot. So appreciate you guys coming. Vlox Systems. So we do IT services. We become the IT department for our clients. I'm just going to keep talking through it. We become the IT department for our clients. So we have businesses, 20 people to 100 people, whatever, and they have a need for technology to communicate and the strategies that go into that and all the ever-changing things, both on like productivity and communication, as well as security. and cybersecurity and all those other things that we worry about as business owners and business leaders. So we love to talk with people and come up with plans to solve those problems and worries that come up. So we have a whole team that just designs strategy for that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we have a team of awesome people that we love to take phone calls and help people when they have issues and problems and things like that, which, of course, they never do, unless they have a printer. But anyway, so that's a little bit about us. I'm going to get out of here and let the next sponsor come up. So thanks, guys.
I wasn't clearing my throat at you, Jordan. Jordan, I don't know what your skincare regimen is, but you look 10 years younger than the last time I saw you. Impressive. Impressive. All right, next up, Kurt Barker. Jeez. Wow. Kurt Barker, partner at Best and Krieger. Come on, Kurt.
You want a mic?
Oh, yeah.
Volume? Oh, good. That's kind. Hi, everybody. I know when you're the longest running title sponsor, you resort to giving away booze and beer because you run out of things to say. So I'm so sorry. I have something better tonight. I'm supposed to get a special slide up here from the Hand in Hand team. We're going to give away a training tonight, and I want to explain why. Yeah, exciting. Good stuff. Okay, excuse me. Kurt Barker with Best and Krieger. For context on the training, I'm an employment attorney. So I'm on the boards of the Society of Human Resource Management here locally, Central Oregon Employer Council. Those groups know when you have a diverse workplace, when you have an inclusive workplace, you're more likely you're going to increase your employee retention. Everybody's Achilles heel right now. You're going to increase employee satisfaction, and there's proof it increases your bottom line. So we are thrilled. No slide. Pretend there's a gorgeous display of the Ben Chambers' upcoming DEI workshop on February 28th to March 1st. We have our first, I think, national caliber training event coming in, thanks to the partnership with Ben Chamber, CoSherm, COEC. We're going to have a national caliber trainer in here to do an intensive 2-day workshop. It is a train the trainer event. I think there'll be a ripple effect through your organization, through the region, the more people that go to this thing. So why is BBK into this? They're sending me. BBK is recognized for its diversity, its efforts at supporting DEI-related causes. They want to send me, we want to send one of you. So if you want, hey, special slide. That's good because the vice president of the chamber, my wife, is in the front row, so that's good. We got that. So the SHRM, Central Oregon, you see them all here. Email me, please, anything right now if you'd like our complimentary $100 ticket. By the way, $100 for a 2-day national caliber DEI training. That is heavily subsidized by those amazing organizations over there and the chamber. So please email that. Before I look up and call out the winner, I need that email from you now to kurt.barker@bbklaw.com, and I'll give away to the first person who sends me. I want to introduce our Caroline Martin, one of our newer attorneys. Where are you, Caroline? Caroline Martin is one of our newest, best and brightest. She's going to be a huge asset for our land use, energy, even employment clients already. And she's probably faster than you on skis. She was a ski instructor, so be nice to her, say hi, welcome her to PubTalk. I am not getting a winner yet. Wait a minute. Oh my gosh, I have Jordan Smith from Vlogs. He can win, right?
I think, why can't he?
Yeah, okay. Yep, we'll get you a ticket, Jordan, or you or whoever you designate to go to the training. Thanks for playing.
You know, it's amazing, Kurt, because I love when you come up here and you do your giveaways, and you said train, and I was like, an entire Amtrak? That's kind of dramatic. Next time. Okay, gotcha. All right, Skylar Bush, AVP, Commercial Relationship Manager at Columbia Bank. Where are you, Skylar? Also, turn the blue one back on.
Thank you, Shane. Hi, everyone. Skylar from Columbia Bank. Thanks for coming to PubTalk. Big crowd. I'm happy. Only major news from Columbia Bank is we're going to officially merge with Umpqua Bank and take over that brand March 1st. So 14 months in the making, we finally have a merger. Thanks, Department of Justice, on your quick review of our documents. Other than that, Columbia Bank is involved with an event coming up. It's through the Risk Management Association, and Shannon's going to be there, so it's going to be awesome. It's February 9th. It's in the morning. It's at Bend Golf and Country Club. We're going to have a CEO panel of Columbia Bank, Summit Bank, and Watt Trusts. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, get a hold of me, and I'll send you the link and get signed up. That's all I got. Thank you.
Skylar, I have an announcement. I am now a Columbia Bank customer. Wow, thank you so much, merger. That was the easiest merger I've ever done. All right, oops, I'm having some problems. So special thanks also to our returning title sponsor, Providence Health Plan, who is making it happen left and right in Central Oregon. Okay, Kurt, you already did your giveaway, but I did want to make a comment. I don't even know what kind of QR code that was. It did not have my face in the middle of it, so better luck next time with that. Also wanted to let all the chatty people know that if you are parked at Oxford, you should probably move your car because you definitely will get towed. Yes, if you parked at Oxford, did you park there? You should have one of your people move your car. Do you? Somebody need to get this woman some people. Does Jamie have any people? You definitely need to move your car. I would move it. Or you know what? They'll move it for you, but then you'll have to go pick it up and not gonna be great. Did you both park there? Well, you had plenty of time, so, I mean, not before they tow it, but before, you speak. So, yeah, I would go sooner than later. All right. Thanks for the extra love. I'm glad the room filled in. I do want to say I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I have 9 seats up front. So if any of you are sick of the chatty Cathys in the back and you want to move up front, I have 9 seats up here. Okay. Oh, yes, here we come. We got some takers. Yes, yeah. Reel them on in. Give them a one. Nicely done. This is exciting. This is more exciting than it should be, but this is exciting. Yeah. Matt, Chris, good to have you guys up here. It feels right now. Way up. Okay. Okay, so this is actually really fun. We don't get to do this every time. Let's introduce Kelsey Lucas, Prineville, Crook County Area Director at EDCO. Kelsey, please join me.
So I am not John Stark. Got it. I'm Kelsey Lucas. I'm the Crook County Economic Development Director for EDCO. I've been in my role for about 4 years now as of this month. And in the past, we haven't seen as much traded sector startup activity as a traditionally natural resource-based economy. However, we've started to see that change in the past couple of years in the form of manufacturing startups such as Uptech, who some of you may have seen pitch mid-2022 here at PubTalk. Prineville recently received funding from Meta, formerly Facebook, to go through a process to analyze our entrepreneurial ecosystem through the Center on Rural Innovation. Our process locally, we start with a cohort mid-March of this year, and the Center on Rural Innovation, or CORI, they have a Rural Innovation Initiative program that takes a handful of cities across the United States each year and offers a technical assistance process, which includes an assessment, a strategic planning process, and then pursuing avenues to fund that executed plan. CORI began offering this cohort process for rural areas in 2019, and since initiation, they've helped 34 communities nationally and secured $29.9 million in both federal funding and grant funding, matching dollars, and that funding comes through the U.S. Economic Development Administration's their highly competitive Build to Scale Venture Challenge grant program. Today, local leaders are focused on educating and training local residents in tech skills, especially in communities traditionally excluded from the tech industry, employing them in new economy jobs, empowering them to launch startups, and empowering them to launch startups that will drive a prosperous 21st century economy. Diverse in geography, economic origin, and demographics, these CORI communities represent the full spectrum of rural America. CORI, with a team of local leaders in the community, identifies current assets, opportunities, gaps, and challenges that community leaders must factor in when building their local tech economy strategy. The The assessment includes community-wide asset mapping, a quantitative diagnostic report, qualitative analysis, and interviews with community stakeholders and partners. Following the assessment period, Corey's in-house team of community managers and economic data specialists collaborate with rural leaders as they develop and refine the tech economy strategies that are unique to their local community. Building on the findings from the assessment phase, their team provides technical assistance, tools, templates, guidance, and best practices for designing inclusive tech economy strategies. Lastly, their consultants work with participants to identify what funding opportunities best match their needs and then advise the grant writing process so they are able to develop competitive grant proposals that will help them gain the resources and assets that they need to execute their tech economy strategy. Previous Corey projects have included incubator spaces, co-working facilities, career hubs, maker spaces, internship programs, rural workforce development programs, and mixed-use living, learning, hybrid spaces. Each community has a very tailored approach based on what is already there and what gaps are seen based on the industry diversification post-wood products era. The timing of this process ties in well with the OSU Cascades Innovation District that's spearheaded by the CoLab there, as well as Oregon's 10-year innovation plan at the state level. And according to the 10-year innovation vision, a successful implementation of this plan includes good high-paying jobs, improved quality of life, global competitiveness, economic resilience, educational attainment, and access and opportunity. So we'll provide an update next spring on our cohort process after that wraps up on findings and next steps for Crook County specifically. And then, side note, our annual lunch is 2 weeks from today at Brasada Ranch. So that will, thanks Jen. That'll be February 9th, and it's about sold out. So if anyone's interested, you can check Eventbrite for that. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelsey. It's so exciting that you get to have it at Brasada Ranch. It's so fancy. So fancy. That cohort, that's amazing. I'm excited to hear about the update, so I'll be here in the spring waiting for that. All right, so on to tonight's companies. This is so exciting, y'all. This is like my favorite lineup. Tonight's industry update is provided by supporting sponsors TDS, a proud supporter of EDCO and PubTalk events, and they value being a part of the Central Oregon business community. TDS offers high-speed internet, phone, and TV, integrating all your favorite streaming video services for both home and business. Their fiber optic network continues to expand through new business construction projects to keep up with our rapidly growing community and its technology demands. Please go to hellotds.com for further details. Am I down a long tunnel right now? Am I underwater? Am I okay? Oh, God. COAR, the Central Oregon Association of Realtors, is the voice of the real estate industry in Crook, Deschutes, Jefferson, and Harney counties. COAR's members strive to build better communities by supporting quality growth, seeking sustainable economies, and housing opportunities. And a special thanks to Central Oregon Association of Realtors for your financial support of the Youth Career Connect program, fostering internships across Central Oregon. Yes to interns in 2023. Thank you, COAR. Okay, I do still have a few seats up front. So if anyone wants, the time is now. If you want to get on up, the time is now. There is a slip hazard. There is a small lake right at seat 2. Yeah, just watch your feet. Nobody's clapping for our friends. Okay. So. And then don't slip. Yes, they have nice non-skid shoes on, and just make your way over there. Very good. Okay. I'm so excited. Cultivate Bend is a nonprofit 501c6 organization formed to cultivate a vibrant ecosystem for the natural products consumer packaged goods sector within Central Oregon. Formerly known as the Central Oregon Food Cluster, the organization is re-emerging after a 2-year transitional period in response to the pandemic. Aren't we all? The organization's mission is to listen and meet the specific needs of the growing population of CPG entrepreneurs, operators, and leaders at every stage and be representative of every Central Oregon community, geographic, gender, racial, ethnic, and culture. They will foster success by creating resources, building community, sharing wisdom, and forging connections. Here to tell us more and to learn about an upcoming event is Paul Evers, CEO and co-founder at Riff, as well as co-founder of Crux Fermentation Project, and alongside him, Thomas Angel, CEO and co-founder of Altitude Beverages. Two of my favorite people, unofficial bio. Okay, I think someone took the microphone, except it was me and it's under my arm. Sorry about that, Paul.
That one goes to Thomas.
Thank you.
Can I have that little slide thing? I'm a little concerned about these mugs right here because I've got.
Don't you worry about those mugs.
Okay.
If they break, they break.
How's everybody doing? Thank you. This is a new venue, great team, doing an amazing job. It's all new challenges for this team, and so a hand of applause and gratitude for the EDCO team putting on this event. I'm Paul, and I've lived in Bend with my family for 33 years. And so I think by modern standards, that qualifies me as an early settler. Right? In those 33 years, I've worked in some capacity in the consumer products industry. For the first 25 years in creative services, working with amazing clients like Humm, Kombucha, with Jamie and Michelle there. And then migrated over to the operating side as a co-founder at Crux Fermentation Project and Riff, as Shannon mentioned. And in those 33 years, I always was aware of a unique set of challenges for consumer brands in Central Oregon, particularly being 3 hours away from the nearest major metro area. And that, those awareness of those needs and challenges was only heightened when I migrated over to the operating side, and then further heightened with the pandemic. And so we're excited to share with you Cultivate Bend, which is a new 501c3 mutual benefit trade organization, really founded on the belief that all boats float with the rising tide, and what we can do together as a community is far greater than what we can do on our own. Thomas.
Good evening, everybody. It feels a little bit deja vu. I was here almost like a year ago pitching our company, Altitude Functional Beverages. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Thomas Angel, one of the co-founders. Now you can hear me. Cool.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so I'm Thomas Angel. I'm one of the co-founders of Altitude Functional Beverages. We're a local beverage company. And unlike Paul, I've only been in Bend 2 years. So I'm basically native. But I mean, I think for Altitude, it's been an experience of we moved to Bend. We moved to Central Oregon to start our company. And we moved here because of the ecosystem. Obviously, there's all the beer companies worthy, obviously here hosting us. Humm, Kombucha, Riff, all these great companies. And we wanted to come and, start our company in this ecosystem. However, it's difficult, consumer packaged goods and navigating that and trying to figure out where to go. And so I'm honored to be a part of this group. And actually, I think, next slide. If any of the board members here can raise your hand, make yourself known, please go and talk to them tonight about Cultivate Bend. We only have 5 minutes up here. But very humbled to be a part of this group. Really deep experience across the verticals of consumer packaged goods, people who have started companies, people who have exited companies, people from the marketing side, from building consumer awareness. I mean, really a talented group. I feel humbled. And I would say, the next major part of our team and us being here tonight is, for those of you who don't know, Bill Capsalis. Yes. is one of our senior advisors for Cultivate Bend. He's one of the co-founders and executive directors for Naturally Boulder. And for those not familiar with Naturally Boulder, it's somewhat recognized as one of the leading associations for our industry. So really a big get for us. Really looking to look for his guidance, his mentorship, so that we're adding value from day one. And in terms of programming, in terms of what Cultivate Bend is, I think at its core, it's really creating that community. I mean, it's already here in Bend. I mean, just look at the amount of people that are here tonight. I mean, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And I think what we want to do is formalize that for the consumer packaged goods industry a little bit more. Create a forum for people like me 2 years ago, moving to Bend, trying to start a consumer packaged good company, asking the dumb questions, right? How do I produce my product? How do I submit my product to market a choice? How do I get outside of Bend? And I think between the board, between the senior advisorship from Bill, I think we really have a talented group. But Paul's going to talk a little bit more about our launch event on February 8th. But we're really looking at starting that community element from there. And obviously some big ideas that we have. Hopefully a tentpole event by the end of this year. But ultimately, we want to start adding value from day one.
Excellent. Thank you. It's really great to be up here with Thomas. And I want to acknowledge that Cultivate Bend really is the next generation of the Central Oregon Food Cluster, which was started by thought leaders like Jamie and Michelle right here, and Jen Moore with Gem Organics, who's still involved and on the board. Thank you, because we're just trying to carry that torch forward for you. We have 3 areas of membership. The foundational aspect, as Thomas was describing, would be leaders, founders, and team members of natural products CPG companies, consumer packaged goods. That's our core membership group. Second would be adjacent sectors. So those that service providers or brands that thrive on or support natural products, consumer packaged goods sector within Central Oregon. So that would be service providers. It could be like legal, accounting, insurance providers, creative services, distributors, brokers. I already said distributors, brokers, retail buyers.
That's how important they are.
And co-packers. They're really distributors, also distributors. And then finally, we have distributors in their own category. And then also the economic development community at large. So we're going to be working and collaborating with economic development agencies, both locally, or not both, but locally, regionally, and statewide. Those agencies that are in support of economic development and particular focus on startups and early stage companies like Thomas was talking about. But what we're really excited to do is we want to invite you to our super spectacular launch event, Wednesday, February 8th at the Haven, Wednesday evening. Okay, you got it? You got it? Okay, so you're gonna be able to come and learn a little bit more about Cultivate Bend. We're gonna have complimentary food, beer, wine, non-alc beverages. It's gonna be amazing. Really, most excitingly, we're gonna be giving away about $1,000 in prizes that evening, and all attendees are automatically put into the draw. Okay, so you could win something really spectacular at that event. And all you got to do, thank you. You can do that now. It's free. It's free, and you get all this stuff. But all you got to do to register is to scan that QR code, and we're having a contest right now. We're going to have a giveaway right now. So people who signed up tonight, all the way through to the end of the Q&A period, are going to qualify for 2 amazing prizes this evening. We have Julia from our board who's auditing our Eventbrite page right now. And if you're registering right now, you're going to be thrown into the pool for 2 great prizes. One is going to be a $50 gift card to Newport Market. And the other is a mountain bike rental for 2 people, courtesy of Pine Mountain Sports, valued at $140 right here, right now. Okay, so we're going to announce the winners at the end of the Q&A period. and you get to come and claim your prizes when you actually show up at the event. Sound good? Who loves that QR code, by the way? Okay, that's it.
Well, Paul,
thank you.
I really love it because you owe me some imaging rights.
I do.
Royalties.
I know.
And we have a contract to sign, actually.
Did we mention we need legal support?
We're going to have to call our lawyers.
Well, one of the prizes we're going to have at the event is a free photo shoot with Jen and Kelly.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that sounds fun. Actually, you know, I feel like this is just so deserving because I've made a lot of jokes about the QR code this past couple years, so this does feel right. Okay, so you rebranded the cluster to Cultivate Bend. I think this was a wise move because nobody really needs a cluster right now unless it's like nuts and caramel. But how did this all get started? Like, who started meeting together? Where did it was it just strictly needs-based? Or you're like, I'm Paul Evers, I can't stop having ideas, let's do something cool, and that was it? Or like, what happened?
It's a long story. It's really a story of persistence and tenacity. You know, we had a board, and there was attrition, and Jen and I just stuck with it. We kept meeting every Monday. I mean, not every Monday, I'm sorry. Every month. It starts with the same 3 letters. Every monthly. And we started meeting every month. I tell you, that Strata beer is a little powerful.
It
But,
should
yeah,
come with the red clown nose.
we were meeting monthly, and we just kept at it. And our friends at Village Family Capital reached out and said, we want to help you really get this thing going.
You
So
had
we've had a
people
lot of
offer you
support and
money.
encouragement. People
Just call
offering,
you up and offer you money.
Absolutely.
Paul Evers, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, we'll take more money if you're interested in sponsoring this amazing trade group.
Was that Jen Moore that you're talking about?
I am talking about
She's one of
Jen
my
Moore.
favorite people.
Well,
And
of
she's
course.
such an asset,
Yeah.
too, because I will say she has experienced like everything you can experience in consumer goods.
full
Like she has
spectrum.
really had
Yes.
some things happen.
Yeah, so she had stayed. Is Jen here?
Is she here?
Jen is
She
here.
is not.
She's not here?
She is here. I just can't believe it.
She's here, but not in the room? Here we are going on and on about
If
Jen. The
you see
next
her, let her know
QR code
she's my
has Jen's
favorite.
face in it, and she's not even here.
How did you come up with the name?
It was just a group, collaborative project,
Yeah,
a board
just
meeting. Yeah,
just
it's
like
very
throwing some good
collaborative.
ideas around, having a kombucha. Thomas, what about for you? Has this been like a godsend for you? I feel like you are kind of that prime example of what it looks like to bring a business here, and this was very new for you, Altitude, right? It was like a whole complete departure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this is something, as I kind of briefly mentioned, that just through our personal experience, there's plenty of great resources in Bend. I mean, that's partly why we moved here, and EDCO being one of them. But consumer packaged goods is very nuanced. That was the word that Paul made me use.
That was a nice
Instead
way
of the
of
words,
saying really,
yeah.
really challenging.
But I mean, there's so many great resources here existing in Bend, and I think for obviously personally for Altitude Beverages, we see a lot of value. I think from a Thomas perspective, it's kind of trying to give back a little bit. We've gotten so much help from so many people in this room tonight to get to where we're at, and I would like for anybody who's in this industry to have those same resources and not have to go through the process of finding them like we did.
From a Thomas perspective, that's a cool phrase. Yeah, and I bet, and I would like to see that for people as well, because we have a lot of great consumer packet. It's a long phrase for me,
I know,
Paul.
it is. I know it's
Tasty
tough.
snacks. We got a lot of tasty snacks in this town. Okay, does anybody in the audience have a question? Do I have anybody here who has
I have a question for the audience.
Yes.
Who has registered for the event?
Ooh.
Oh, there's some serious FOMO going on right now.
Okay, so I think we know what to do with QR codes now. Put my face in the middle of them.
See?
Paul,
I
that's
knew-
an
I got-
extra. That'll
I
be
knew
an
I would
extra
do it.
fee, Paul. Okay, any
Follow-up
questions? This
question.
is your chance. Any questions? This is your. Okay, so wait, I do have one more question. Well, I have two more questions. Big picture, like, do you want to have a space, an office space where you're meeting? Do you want to have a headquarters? Have you thought that far? Like, what are you visioning at this point?
No, our main thing is going to be to pull the community together and then to listen and see where we need to go.
God bless you, Paul Evers. God bless you. Oh, it's just
It's
really
going to be
perfect.
it's going to be driven by the membership.
Yeah, it's really perfect.
Yeah.
That was really great. Do you need an MC for the event on the 8th?
Yes,
also,
well, it's the 8th. It's the 8th.
also, where's Mary?
Yeah, Mary, I know. I'm going
know.
to tell her that you called her out.
I'm not calling her out. I just really would love to see her.
Yeah, she decided to go have a beer with a friend instead of be here. I said,
Ew.
Yeah, thank you.
She's probably at Silver Moon right now.
I hope somebody's videotaping this.
All right,
probably
you guys,
is.
this is so awesome. I'm so excited that you're doing this. It's so needed, and I think only good things are coming. So we'll see you at the party. I'll wear my best surprise face, and that'll be that.
That's wonderful. If you could just hold that all night long, that'd be great. Because
Okay, so are we ready to do the giveaway?
well, I don't know, Julia.
Julia.
We are looking into the sun right here. So yeah, see you, Julia. This is Julia over here, and so she's been monitoring our Eventbrite's portal, and
Julia's in the portal
we'll
too.
randomly choose 2 names to win these amazing prizes. But you got to show up at the event to collect them. You know that. Karina Peterson, and Karina Peterson is going to win the $50 Newport Market gift card. Where is Karina?
Karina, you're about to buy 2 things at Newport Market.
What'd you say? 2 what?
She's gonna be able to get 2 things at Newport Market.
Two Riff Energy Pluses for $50.
It's a big deal.
Where is Karina? She's not even here. So okay. She might be, but we don't know how to get a hold of her. We do. We have her email.
We do. We have all of her
Okay,
information.
so-
We actually have all of her information.
Oh, there's Karina.
Woohoo!
Everybody, yes, Karina.
Karina, you're rich.
Woo! $50. Okay, so next is the mountain
And
bike
you get
rental for 2.
your prize at the party. Okay, the next one is the mountain bike ride.
It's rental.
Rental.
What is it?
Kara Schaefer.
Kara Schaefer.
Kara. Is she
Where?
right in here?
She's very shy. Come on, stand up. There you go, Kara Schaefer. Are you a mountain biker? Well, maybe you can trade for the Newport Market gift card. Or you could sell it. You could probably sell it. It's worth a lot. Okay, yes. Oh, we're up to 127.
RSVPs.
I got to call the people at the Haven because that might break the... I don't know if they have the weight limit. Or 20?
But only 33 of your friends.
No, well, yeah, but we're at 127? So that's 23. 23.
The
so
number is shrinking all the time.
Try and keep it hush now, okay? All right, we're giving away, at the event, we're giving away $1,000 in prizes. It's really going to be amazing. I think one of them is going to be worth about $500. So, but you really don't want to show up for that. You want to show up to learn more about Cultivate Bend, right?
And also, the Haven is such a special treat.
And we're going to have you as the MC. I love
I'm
it.
going to be there.
All right, thank you,
Okay,
Shannon.
thanks, Paul. This is wonderful. All right, another round of applause for my friends, Thomas and Paul. Oh, thank you. Kara, I just want you to know that when I mountain bike, I hang back about 150 yards behind Grandma. So listen, just go at your own pace. It's about the scenery, okay? You don't have to beat anybody. Thank you, Cultivate Ben, Paul and Thomas, always a pleasure. And we'll see you on Wednesday. No, not next Wednesday, the Wednesday after. God, I'm already jumping to February. All right, Kelly Michael, EDCO, Director of Membership Development, has been busy again. She just can't stop, won't stop. Our new EDCO members include Faith, Hope, and Charity Winery, Avid Cider, Weston Technology Services, Riff Creative, Stavron Trading Company, Morrison Mayery, Mayerly, Alexander Cyrus and Miracle Mile Advisors, Palmier Strategic Solutions, Fulla LLC, Sen Transportation, Peak Coaching and Strategy Group, Impossible Machine, Central Oregon Radiology Associates, Dairy Winsome and Fournier Group, Risk Strategies. Good work, Kelly. My goodness. There are QR codes on tables throughout Worthy where you can easily sign up for EDCO membership or reach out to her to learn more. They are the ones without my face on them. So boring, but they still work. Tonight's company pitch is sponsored by COCC. Central Oregon Community College specializes in partnering with local businesses and industries to create fully customizable training programs. Whether business owners are looking to certify local workers in specialized on-the-job skills, establish an apprenticeship program, or develop and deploy HR workshops, COCC is the region's partner in workforce training and professional development. Learn more about COCC's Center for Business, Industry, and Professional Development at cocc.edu/CBIPD. You can also look at the website. Okay. And Sensiba Sanfilippo, who wants you to know that the way you have been treating your R&D expenses for accounting purposes has changed for 2022. Yay! Since the 1950s, companies have been allowed to deduct the full cost of R&D in the year incurred, but now that expense must be spread out over a longer period, which will likely result in a higher tax bill. Without proper planning and quantification, the 2022 tax season might come with a big surprise. So take the time to review this change with a qualified professional. You can help ensure your company is prepared for the impact it will have on your business. Reach out to your CPA or the SSF team to help get you started sooner rather than later. Okay, that's the theme of the night. Uptech Studio is a group of product design and technology experts that partner with startups and rapid growth companies to build, launch, and refine great software products. Whether it's vetting an idea through a simple low, no-code solution or building a full-stack product, the team at Upstart Studio can help. AppFit is an app developed by Uptech Studio that helps teams stay connected on their top-level matrix. Teams review metrics on a weekly basis and use that data to make decisions about their company objectives. AppFit simplifies this process by automatically pulling in data each week and then reminding teams to take a look and discuss what they see. Here to educate us further on how we can all help are Uptech Studio partners Claude Ciocan and Matt New. Hi, Claude and Matt. Hello. Take it away.
Hi, my name is Matt New, and I'm one of the partners at Uptech Studios.
And I'm Claude Ciocan, and also a partner at Uptech Studio. Matt and I have been working in startups for more than 20 years. And after bouncing around from startup to startup together for many years, we thought to ourselves, why are we only working with one startup at a time? Why don't we help lots of startups? So we founded Uptech Studio with the goal of helping startups to build, launch, and refine their products. And one thing that we noticed over the many years of working with startups is that they struggle with data. And we thought to ourselves, why is that? Well, data is confusing. What metrics are you supposed to look at? How often are you supposed to look at them? And what do you do with all that data? And so we wanted to help the companies we were working with, and so we started keeping track of their data in spreadsheets, and we'd gather it from different places, like their product analytics tools to their marketing budgets, and a bunch of different places. And then we'd put together slide decks to talk them through it every week and keep tabs on it and make sure things are going in the right direction. But this was really time-consuming and a lot of effort to do. And we're like, there's got to be a better way. How do we make this more efficient? So that's how AppFit was born. And I'm hand it over to Matt to tell you how it works.
Cool. Very close to my mouth. Got it. Okay, so the way that AppFit works, for those of you who have an... Oh, sorry. For those of you who have an iPhone, God, it sounds so loud. This is terrible. Okay, for those of you who have an iPhone, there's a good chance you have Apple Health. And given that we're in Bend, there's a good chance most of you look at Apple Health. And so you can see inside Apple Health, here's all my top line metrics from my watch to my phone to Strava to MyFitnessPal to all these different sources. AppFit, very similar idea, but designed to work with your app. So the design is to hook it up to a number of different data sources that we can then pull that in and have your team look at your metrics on a weekly basis, like Claude was talking about. The first partner that we're working with is a company called Amplitude. And for those of you who work in tech and in startups in the app development field, Amplitude is definitely the leader as far as product metrics. And what Amplitude does is it helps people figure out how are their users using their product. Where are people getting stuck? What are those different funnels that people are going to? AppFit is designed to sit on top of Amplitude and allow people to look at that on a weekly basis and figure out, hey, is there something going wrong? Are people getting stuck in registration? Are people getting stuck, in conversion? Are we getting enough subscribers this week? The way that AppFit works is you connect it to your Amplitude account, and you basically, each week, it will send you a reminder, and it'll say, here's this week's metrics, take a look. And the team goes in. If there's nothing wrong with any of the metrics, you just say, everything's on track, great, we'll look again next week. If you see something, you'll flag it for another team member. There's commenting, you can have a full discussion inside the app. You guys can resolve whatever the issue was with your app right there inside the product. And what's great about that is inevitably when you look back and you're like, what happened that one week? All that context is stored with your data, which is a great kind of feature as you're rolling out and going on with your business. So the way that we're looking at kind of the opportunity here is we're already using it with all of our customers at Uptech Studio. And that's kind of how, like Claude was mentioning, we were doing this with Google Slides, and we've shifted people over to the app. And we'll bring up the app and talk to all the companies that we're working with each week and say, here's how we're doing on all those different metrics. The next place that we look kind of as an opportunity is people who are using Amplitude and all their free users who aren't really, maybe don't have that discipline. They're not doing that on a weekly basis. And talking to our partners at Amplitude, there's about 20,000 people that are doing that kind of right now or in that kind of space. And so we think there's an opportunity there to convert them over to becoming good users of their product and looking at things like, how many installs did we get this week? How many subscriptions did we light up this week? How many people, converted, finished registration this week or got approved for an account? We really want to kind of help people do that. Longer term, there's opportunities for including Amplitude, like Claude was mentioning. There's an opportunity to potentially bring in your data warehouse data. There's an opportunity to bring in your data direct from the App Store or the Play Store and build those connectors in. We see this growing in kind of a number of different ways. So I've talked a lot about the product and kind of the market side. So Claude can kind of talk more about the team then.
Yeah, so in addition to Matt and I advising on AppFit, we've got a full-time software engineer working on the product and a part-time designer. So, we made some really good progress on the product so far, and we're really happy with where it's at. Obviously, tons of more stuff to do, but what we really need right now is, more startups to give us some feedback on the product. If you know of any startups that could use AppFit, we really appreciate any kind of introductions. Or if you know people that work with startups on a regular basis, other consulting groups, or maybe there's investors or VCs that would love to keep tabs on their portfolio companies using AppFit via our view-only role. So yeah, that's really what we're looking for today, is more feedback on the product, and we'd love your feedback if you check it out. We actually went live today in the Apple App Store.
5 a.m. this morning.
So please check it out and let us know what you think.
Can you give us an example of a company that you work with where you overlaid it?
Hold on a sec.
Yeah, so...
Hold on 1 second. So I'm going to repeat the question because otherwise our people watching at home won't know what's happening. Okay, can you give us an example of a company that you've worked with and how it went for them so that we can really understand how the product works? It's a great question.
Cool. So one of the projects at Uptech that I'm on is KQED. They're in the Bay Area. They're a public radio channel in the Bay Area. And what they have is a lot of people who go into their app. We built their apps for them. They've got a lot of people who go into their app and listen to the live stream. But they've got all this other content that nobody knows about. They've got a lot of local Bay Area podcasts that they've created too, and great content in there. So one of the things we started tracking with them is, let's take a look. How many of your live stream users are actually then going on to becoming podcast listeners and checking out your podcast feature? And that was a huge kind of strategic initiative for them the last quarter. And so we were able to track that on a weekly basis. And when we saw that that number wasn't as high as we wanted it to be, we could reach out to their marketing team and say, hey, let's send out some emails. Let's drive more people, make more awareness of the podcast feature within the app. So does that kind of answer your question? Yeah.
Oh, so cool. Yeah, it's like really kind of very nitty-gritty detailed. So what is the big picture vision for what you all are doing? Or you want to take this thing all the way? Do you want to sell it? What's your plan?
I think for us, what we'd like to do is to, if there's kind of an opportunity to potentially partner with somebody else that would, eventually acquire it, that's kind of where we see is like, again, if there is a company that is interested in, like, they have this need for people, that stop looking at their metrics, because what we've seen is the best companies and the most successful companies are people who pay attention to these things. So we know this works. But we also, a lot of these other kind of analytic platforms, they just help you set it up, and then we don't care if you use the product or not. And so if it's something like Google Analytics, or if it's something like Firebase, it's like they'll get you set up, but they don't really have, they don't take kind of an opinion on how you should use that product. And that's what we're trying to do. We think that that's going to be valuable to somebody.
It's very exciting. Any other questions from the audience? You're all in. You're all in. It's all good. Yes.
So does it work only on apps?
Does it work only on apps?
Or does it work in other platforms?
Or does it work in other platforms like websites?
So
Great question.
right now, it primarily works with apps that use Amplitude, but our goal eventually is to add other connectors from different data sources. So in theory, in the future, we might integrate, with, Google Sheets, but that's a more manual way, but maybe it's like integrate into QuickBooks or something more brick and mortar, where we can pull data from different sources. So there's opportunities to go beyond just apps, but for now, that's our focus.
And did you just stumble upon this because you knew there was a need, or?
Well, it's like Claude mentioned. I was wasting hours of my time pulling this. I mean, we were pulling the data out of Amplitude. All the data was in these different sources, but they weren't in a format that was conducive to a conversation. And so what we would do is we'd set up this slide template for each of our partners. I remember for one of our partners is a company called Ad Hoc Labs, and every Tuesday night, our meeting was on Wednesday. Every Tuesday night, I would stay up and pull all the information into slides, and we would go through the slides, and on each slide, there was like a traffic icon. Should we stop here? Are we green? Are we red? Are we yellow? And if it was red, we had to have a conversation about it. If it was green, we just ignored it. And I was like, why am I wasting so much time? Like, this totally can be done in an app. And so, but it was literally all those meetings and all those different kind of partners we worked with that is why we think that there's actually something there.
So if nothing else, this has improved your quality of life.
100%.
I'm into that.
Right.
I'm into that, Matt.
Well, yeah. And as someone who's worked in product management for a long time in the tech field, and if you're a product manager and you've ever had that CEO ask you a question, where are we on this metric? Just being able to reach in your pocket and show him or her is actually a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. I might have been thinking of someone specifically.
That's a great catch. Okay, well, this is awesome. So find out more about these guys, talk with them, and give them some feedback on the app. If you have customers that might be appropriate for it, send them their way. And then I hope you'll keep us posted and you'll come let us know how it goes. This is so cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, you guys are very smart. That's impressive. Thanks so much for joining us, both of you. Yeah. Love those smarty pants. All right. Are you guys ready for what's coming? I've been excited about it for weeks. All right. So our keynote sponsors tonight, BBSI. Happy New Year from your BBSI Central Oregon team, who has a full team of seasoned professionals offering tactical and strategic payroll, HR and recruiting, risk and safety, and business consulting services that help you stay focused on growing and developing your business. We've been here for over 20 years and are ready to help you when you need us. Founded in 2009 by kombucha enthusiasts Jamie Danek and Michelle Mitchell, Humm Kombucha is one of the largest, fastest-growing beverage brands. From the company's early days brewing in the founder's kitchen through its move to a state-of-the-art brewery, Humm has remained focused on great taste, accessibility, and overall wellness because health and happiness go hand in hand. Unlike other kombucha brewers, Humm didn't start off marketing to health food stores. Jamie and Michelle believed from the get-go everyone should have the option to try this healthy, delicious beverage, so they marketed it to supermarkets and gas stations where kombucha wasn't typically found. Today, you'll find Humm beverages available at some of the world's biggest retailers and across all 50 states, as well as Sweden and Canada. Please welcome Jamie and Michelle. that true partnership.
Okay. Oh,
Ooh.
this
Hi.
is awesome. Wow. Hi.
Are you guys ready for a really fun story? We have a great story to share tonight.
This is going to be super fun. Totally. Okay, by show of hands, how many in this room and in the other room that we can't see have tried kombucha before? Raise your hands.
Fuck yeah, look at this. Look at all the people.
She's already swearing. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is very.
I said
you
I
didn't.
wouldn't. I did.
Yeah. This
know.
is very
I'm
different
gonna
than we
try.
were. So we were here 13 years ago, 1 year into our business of Kombucha Mama, and I think what, like, 2 people raised their hands.
No.
No.
Nobody.
Zero
They're like,
people raised their hands.
kombucha?
How many of you were here 13 years ago?
Oh,
yay! That's awesome. So yeah, here we are, 13 years later, doing the keynote. This is crazy. You know, a couple years older and maybe a little bit wiser.
Definitely wiser.
Yeah,
We're smarter.
yeah. Not as smart as those guys, for sure, Matt and Claude, but a little bit smarter. And we'll share a story and a little bit of lessons along the way. And before we go into that, though, one thing that Jamie and I wanted to share was that we've been so blessed over the years to be able to tell our story to, I don't know, thousands of people across the country. And one thing that we always talk about is that we absolutely wouldn't be where we are today without this community, without Bend. I mean, we live in such a cool place. I mean, Paul and Jen are still doing the Cultivate Bend, or rebranding it and putting this effort behind supporting entrepreneurs. I think this event in general, we hear new ideas and we ask questions. I mean, it's a place that has a ton of support for entrepreneurs, and we wouldn't be here without this community. So thank you. Super appreciate it.
Very true.
So Jamie's going to kick this off because I love her version of the story. It's always it's slightly embellished, but always very, very entertaining.
I'm going to give it to you straight up, exactly how it went down. Okay, so it all started on a tennis court, as all good stories do. And it depends on who you ask. We were either in a beginner's tennis clinic.
We were.
Or we were training for Wimbledon.
She was.
Either way. Somewhere in between, I'm pretty sure. And anyway, we met on a tennis court. We became fast friends. We would sit at Michelle's kitchen table, and we would dream up, like, starting a business together. And this was within a couple of weeks of meeting each other. And at that time, I was growing 48 heads of lettuce in my bathtub. And I was a vegetarian, and I moved to this mountain town, and the veggies sucked here. And so I needed to have good food. So we signed up for a greenhouse class because we thought we were going to open a greenhouse. And then we were drinking, Michelle was like, have you heard of kombucha? And I'm like, no. And we're drinking our kombucha, and it's really yummy and good and whatever. And so this is the middle of the recession, okay? This was 2009, so the stock market crashed. Bend was a bit of a mess. How many of you were here then? Right? Downtown, restaurants were closing, houses were for sale, like every other sign. And we were just at the kitchen table laughing our asses off constantly. And it was so fun. And we actually shouldn't have been so happy because we didn't have jobs. So, and
That's
we
why
had just
we were really
moved to
happy.
Bend. I'm from the East Coast. Michelle's from the Midwest. Within the last handful of months, we just moved to Bend, and the stock market actually crashed on my drive. So we shouldn't have been stoked, but we were stoked. I mean, Michelle had just traveled overseas for a handful of years. She didn't have a job. I had a business that I had had for 15 years. It was a cash cow. I made a lot of money. I hated it, and I would have had to rebuild it through the recession. I said, I'm not going to do it again. And so we shouldn't have been stoked, but we were laughing all the time. I swear to God, you guys, one day we looked at each other and we were like, what if it's the kombucha that's making us feel so good? Oh my God, we got to get this out to everybody, because if we can get everybody in Bend feeling better, then we're all going to be better. Houses are going to be sold. Restaurants are going to open. This is going to be amazing. So we didn't know anybody. We just moved to town. Like, we knew like 10 people. So we send an email out, and we're like, if you got $20 and you want to feel better, we've got the answer. I shit you not. This is how it started. And I swear to God, like, a bunch of people. Is there anybody in the audience that was in that, like, that we delivered to your house? Nobody?
Okay.
All right.
So it's like door to door, I have to say. So, I mean, we just like the old milkman, we had these gallon glass jugs, and we would fill them full of kombucha, and people would leave $20 under their mat and have these empty gallon glass jugs, and we would deliver the full ones in Jamie's Prius, pick up the empty ones, and come back and do the whole thing again. It was so much fun.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
So this was within a couple of weeks. We were on a wait list, believe it or not. Nobody even knew what kombucha was in this town, but we were like, if you want to feel good, and people wanted to feel better. Who doesn't want to feel better? Like, yeah. So we were on a wait list, and that was the next 7-8 years where we were on a wait list. We actually could not make enough product to support the sales. The more we made, the more we sold. We started with $1,500. We didn't pay ourselves. I mean, I think we did try and figure it out at one point. I think we were sub 30 cents an hour. It was like 28-ish. But we didn't pay ourselves, so we just sold product, and then we put everything back into the business. And so for the next handful of years, this was our experience. It was just we could not produce enough. People just kept saying yes, and I think what happened was it was like they were at the kitchen table with us. I mean, everybody's starting to feel good, right? You guys all drink kombucha. You know that when you drink this stuff, it makes you feel really good. Okay, so started in Michelle's kitchen. So we were there for 9 months, September to August. And then we moved to First Street, which is a 1,200 square foot facility. We were there for 4 years. So the last year was hilarious. Like, you couldn't walk in the facility. There was so much stuff. So we'd have to move everything out into the parking lot just so we could get in the last year, just so we could get in there and actually work. That was awesome. Fun times. And then we moved to 2nd Street, which is where our tap room is now. That was a 5,000 square foot facility. We were there for 4 years. The tap room is still there now. And then we finally moved to Brinson Boulevard, which was 40,000 square feet, which is where we produce now. And that was the first time, so I think it was 17 that we moved to Brinson. And that was the first time, so we started in 09, 17. It was the first time that we could make more product than we could sell. So we had like 8 years of like, yeah, you think it is a good problem to have, except it creates a ton of stress on the business. Yep. One other thing I want to talk about is the product. So how many of you were drinking kombucha in 2009? Oh, no way. Really? Okay.
We do live in Bend.
So, okay, fine. That's fair. So you guys know that, for those of you that don't know, the only place you could buy kombucha was at the health food store. It was pretty intense. This was some vinegary stuff. Some people liked it. A lot of people held their nose to get it down because they wanted, they wanted to drink something good for them. And this was not a product for the general pop at all. However, Michelle's kombucha was, holy crap, it was so good. It was like this light, refreshing, soda-y product. And it didn't taste anything like at the health food store. And so we said, what if you didn't shop at Whole Foods? What if you didn't go to the health food store? Would you still be interested in a product that was good for you? And so this led to us going to everywhere where kombucha wasn't. So we were at like Food for Less, I think. I don't know how many of you remember this, but Food for Less was like, they were selling like 50 kegs a week at one point. It's an ethnic grocery store. They didn't have an organic section back then. We were in convenience stores, pizza shops, grocery outlets, cigarette outlets. I mean, you name it. We sat next to Red Bull, Monster, Coke, Pepsi. And the reason was there was a lot of competition in the health food stores, but there's no competition everywhere else. And it really worked. People were interested in something healthy that didn't shop in health food stores. So it was yeah.
Yeah, so we went to market differently than the traditional kombuchas. But I want to back up for a second and just talk about our why. It's something that we talk about, if not daily, certainly weekly at our company. And hourly. For me, so when Jamie and I sat at the kitchen table and we talked about, okay, let's do this business together, one of the things that we asked ourselves is it possible to take care of people in business like a mother takes care of her child? Now, that sounds very hippy-dippy, but we all live in Oregon, so the analogy works. And we didn't know the answer. It was a genuine question. Is it possible? And as it turns out, people do really like being taken care of. And one of the things that we spend a lot of time on in our business is our culture. And I mean, shoot, my job title is Chief Culture Angel. They still let me keep that, which is amazing. They actually pay me to, make sure our culture is going well. So it's something that we put a lot of effort in. And every quarter, it's so cool, you guys. We have culture keepers every quarter. It's a group of employees. We have about 100 employees now. And there's a group of people that volunteer every single quarter to do really fun things for the rest of the company. They do appreciation lunches, and they write love notes, and they plan events, and they volunteer their time to create the space that we all want to spend our days in. And for me, my why was I wanted to create a business where people could show up and they actually had a pretty good time. And at the very least, they had a neutral time. I was surrounded with so many people that were just not psyched. And I think as adults, we spend most of our waking hours in our place of work. So why not have that be awesome? So that was absolutely my why.
And I was like, well, that sounds good. Let's do that. And then I was like, well, I'm really stoked about helping people feel good. Like, I just have this energy, and I like feel good a lot of the time. And life can be tough. And man, to feel a little bit better, go through life and feel a little bit better, and have the opportunity to be able to like help people feel good. I mean, if I ask anybody, does anybody not want to feel better? Like, if you walk down the street and said, "Do you want to feel better?" Is anybody gonna say no? No. Everybody wants to feel better, even if you feel good. And so to create a company and be involved in something that just helps people feel good, holy mackerel. I mean, this was like a daily thing. So now we got this, we're going to create an awesome place for people to go to work every day, and we're going to help the world feel better. Hell yeah. I mean, talk about a mission statement. We were on fire. Yeah. People got to buy it. Okay, so here's the thing. You can have a great idea. We all have great ideas. How many great ideas do you have a day? A lot. People have to buy your product. You can have a great idea, and if nobody buys it, it doesn't matter. I bet you money. I think that for sure, we would not be here today without this community, because you guys all kept buying the product. You didn't even know what it was, and you were buying it. You're like, we're calling and asking people for help, and, we're these two girls, and what are they doing? All right, we're going to buy it, because Bend is so amazing at supporting local and supporting each other. And this company is like, it's kind of like a Bend company, It was really born here, and it is a part of, there is something that happens that's so special when a business and a community wrap their arms around each other. It creates something like this. It creates 100 people in this tiny town, this larger business. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. This obviously this event used to be held at Silver Moon until today. And one of the things that they were so amazing to us. We had figured out how to put kombucha in kegs. We were still in my kitchen, and we had figured out how to put kombucha in kegs, which is a whole nother story. We had a lot of help for that. We definitely did not know what we were doing. And then we wanted to put it in bottles so that people could have a single serve experience with their kombucha. And we called around, and who's going to deliver bottles to a residential address? And nobody said yes. And so we went to Silver Moon,
and we couldn't. You had to get a pallet. That's 136 cases. We needed like 6 cases, right?
Right. So we went over to Silver Moon and said, "Hey, can we buy some bottles from you guys?" And they were like, "Yeah, absolutely, no problem. Here's this. It costs. We'll store them for you. If you need more, let us know." I mean, it was a no thing. They were just so happy to help.
And then this one is like a week into the business. She's calling up the Shoots and talking to their fermentation specialist about fermentation. Like, we're nobody. We're like 2 girls in a kitchen coming up with some crazy idea, making something nobody ever heard of. And she's talking to the Shoots, and they're talking to her. Like, they're actually talking back to her, and they're helping her. I mean, where does this happen? I mean, this is pretty special.
Yeah. So eventually we, like Jamie said, out of the kitchen into the First and the Second Street facility. So about 5 years into our business was really I think up to that point, the biggest decision we made was we actually chose to rebrand. So we were Kombucha Mama, and we were a Pacific Northwest company. So we looked ourselves and had a conversation about, hey, do we want to stay a relatively small Pacific Northwest company, or do we want to share this thing with everybody? You obviously know the end of the story.
Well, the reason was because you guys were all feeling so good. You know how Ben was doing it 5 years later? We were having a blast. Everybody was feeling so good. We were like, we should probably share this with everybody, the whole world, not just Ben.
So we go into a local agency called TBD, run by Paul Evers, and we worked with Paul and Renee Mitchell, who is our director of marketing today. She's amazing. And we walked in there and we're like, hey, we would like a little bit of help making our label a little bit more sophisticated, because at the time it was Kombucha Mama, it had a lotus flower, it was rainbow, and for Oregon, you guys are like, yeah, we'll buy that. But I'm telling you, they will not buy that in Iowa, where I'm from.
Or Philadelphia. No way.
So Paul says to us, he said, well, ladies, would you ever consider changing your name? To which I'm pretty sure Jamie at that point told him he was really bad at his job.
No, well, what I said was he gave us like the names that he thought was a good idea, and I was like, oh my God, you guys should just stick with like doing the other stuff, like don't do the name thing. And sure as shit, like 6 months later, we totally changed our name because I didn't know what I was talking about. He's clearly the professional.
Obviously, Paul definitely knows what he's talking about, and we got to listen to him. This is a side note, but I used to call him Obi-Wan Kenobi because every time we would go in the room and Paul ever showed up, there was something that was going to happen that I wasn't sure what. He would say, you will change your name. We were like, we will change our name. You know, whatever Paul said, we did. Anyway, so that took 9 months. It was actually, Kombucha Mama to Humm was 9 months. From my kitchen to the first facility was 9 months. It was like second birth. And then we got to, so where are we at right now? Community, we talked about that. Talked about the name change. Oh, okay, so at that point, we started, as we grew and we had this, we had our new name, we were ready to go. You guys, we were huge in our minds. Like we had already talked to Michelle Obama at the White House, and kombucha was going in every single school. Like that had already happened. We were already on Ellen. We have a dance. We definitely have a dance. Like it never really came out, but maybe on YouTube someday. We were going to do that. We were going to do all these things. So we were up here. We saw how big it was, and so we needed to make ourselves look bigger than actually had manifested so far. So what do you do?
Well, one of the things you can do is you can partner with the NFL, which we did when we were really small. I don't think at that point we had a marketing budget. I'm pretty sure that we were still just giving away product, and that was our marketing budget. So when we sat at the kitchen table, when we were talking about, how do we like capture America? We thought like if we get NFL in the Walmart, we've got America. Like between most people in the world, they're either watching or they're watching football or they're buying stuff at Walmart. So we were like, all right, Walmart and the NFL. So one of our board members happened to know somebody at CenturyLink, and we're like, all right, we're ready. We're ready to partner with football. And so you guys have to know, I know nothing about football, which is hilarious, but I knew it was really important. And I can embellish stuff. And so I call the guy, and we have a great conversation, so much so that he introduces me to the marketing coordinator of the Seahawks. And she happens to know what kombucha is, and we're talking. And so we send a bunch of product to the Seahawks, like cases and cases, maybe even a pallet, to the where they all work, the office. And we get them hooked on kombucha. They're all like, what is this stuff? I haven't felt this good in so long, right? You guys know that story because you've experienced it. So we're talking to the marketing coordinator, and we're like, we should do something together. And as you can imagine, every non-alcoholic beverage on planet Earth has a contract with the NFL. 6 weeks later, we get a phone call that says there's no contract with the NFL. If you guys are interested, we're interested. Okay, we're so excited. We're just like, no way. We're going to partner with the NFL. This is amazing. She drops the price tag on what it costs to partner with the NFL. You guys, I got so nervous. I was like, broke out into a cold sweat. I'm driving somewhere, and I'm like pretending that I'm losing service, and I hung up on her. I didn't know what to do. I don't think we had spent $5,000 on marketing. This was 6 figures, but it was the NFL. It was so exciting. So as good entrepreneurs that we are, all risk, all pedal, no brake, all gas, no brake. We're like, we got to do this. We sat with our executive team, and I remember like the lawyer on our executive team, I don't know if he's here tonight, but he was like, I'm abstaining. Like, there is no way this is a good idea. The ROI, I can't even imagine, but this is not good. And the other ones that were a little bit more excited about selling, that were partnered with the NFL, said, yes, of course we're going to do it, because we can leverage this. So we did it, and we partnered with them. First game,
You want to guess how many bottles of kombucha? Anyone want to guess how many bottles of kombucha we sold in the Seahawks Stadium, the entire stadium, the very first game? 7 would have been great. We sold one.
$8. That helped with the $250,000 contract. So clearly ROI. We already knew that though. We didn't know it was going to be quite that bad actually, but we knew. Okay, so then we said, all right, Walmart. So we go into a meeting with Walmart, and this is 2015. The only kombucha on the shelf is GT's, and Kavita is up, and Humm's got a meeting. And we happened to drop in the meeting that we're the official kombucha of the NFL. And the Walmart guy goes, there's a kombucha sponsor for the NFL? And we're like, and we're it. and we got put on the shelf. And he didn't say it was because we were an NFL sponsor, but And then we were tiny. So holy shit, we got into Walmart from that, and then we got into a lot of other things. So all of a sudden, the world saw us as really big, actually way bigger. I mean, we had like 30 staff at the time. We were tiny. The world saw us as way bigger than we were. Yeah. Really good story. I think today, if like our professional CEO was here, we probably wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, that would have been a different conversation. However, so I think one of the things, as this was happening, so we're getting into bigger stores, we're having to supply the stores. We needed money to make that happen, and so we went to a variety of institutions, which they all said no. Like nobody would give us money. It just didn't pencil out. As you can see, we sold 1 bottle of kombucha at the Seahawks game.
The decisions we made weren't exactly in their books, guidebooks.
Yeah, it didn't pencil out. However, there were people in this community that said yes. When every institution said no, we came to the community, we asked our friends and family, and people said, yeah, we support you. Like, we can see your vision, we're in, we'll write you a check. And they did that when nobody else would.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here today without the community helping and friends and family. It's a really big deal.
It's a big deal, and it's a big responsibility, and it's just it was a impactful part of our story for sure. So fast forwarding, we moved into the Brinson facility. We eventually were able to get some funding from a PE group, and at some point in a business, what it takes to get from the kitchen table.
Hold on. When we changed our name all at the same time, we also brought a board in.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
We also brought our investors in. So that all happened at the time, 5 years into the business. So we'd spent a little bit more than $1,500 at that point.
Yeah.
And it started to get a little bit more serious. So we brought in investors. We brought in a board.
And our board, so here we are. It's still pretty early on in our business when we brought that first board in. And Gary Fish said yes to us, the founder of Deschutes Brewery. We're still a handful of years into the business figuring it out. And that guy, loves a good idea. And he said yes, and still on our board today, and has been an incredible resource for so many things. So then you get to the point where what it took to get from the kitchen table to our Brinson facility a handful of years in is very different than what it takes to get from that facility to where we're going. And Jamie was running the company at the time. This was a couple 3 years ago, and she raised her hand. She said, "Hey, I need help. Like this is a different skill set." And so 3 years ago, at roughly this time, I think next month it'll be this time, we sat down and interviewed Matt Witherell. Raise your hand, Matt. Matt. He's amazing. Matt is our CEO. And this guy, he came from big stuff. He was at Miller Coors. He was at Red Bull.
He went to Stanford. He buttons up his shirt all the way. His hair's perfect.
Lots of buttons.
He's not like us. But super cool, just really got it. And we, it's so amazing when you can't do, that decision was a great decision then, but you can't do those kind of decisions all the time. You'll actually implode the business. And so there is a point where the entrepreneur and the professional, like if the entrepreneurs kept running the business, we probably would have imploded it. I'm pretty sure we would have. And if I kept running it. And then if the professionals came in, they also would have imploded the business because they were too small and we're too niche and we're too women that care. I mean, we talk about taking care and, helping people feel good. That's kind of oovy groovy. And so the professionals and the entrepreneurs, when they come together and do it together, it is phenomenal. So the business is thriving. It's doing so well today. And a lot of that is a testament to us working together. We have so much fun together. We laugh so much. I mean, we really could write a book on how well this has gone, the transition from the entrepreneurs to the professionals. Really, really wonderful.
Yep.
And
Hard things?
yeah. So it wasn't all hard. I mean, sorry, it wasn't all hard.
It
wasn't all great. There were so many hard times. There were a lot. We're going to share a couple, and then we'll open it up to questions. But there were a few things that stand out. The one is distribution. As Paul mentioned, distribution is a big deal, and we messed up pretty bad on some distribution stuff. So some of the things we did good was when we started, some things we did well. When we started, we decided to be in the Pacific Northwest, and we wanted ubiquity, right? So we wanted to be like Norm on Cheers, right? Everybody knew your name. Up and down the street, they would see Humm. So we were in places where we might have only sold a bottle a month, but because somebody could see us, and it gave them the view of just seeing Humm everywhere, we performed really well in the Pacific Northwest. Lots of great velocity, lots of stores. We were in most of the stores. And then we had a meeting with Target. And we went to Target thinking that we were going to open a couple hundred stores. Well, Target said, we want you everywhere. And we were bedazzled. And we were like, hell yeah, we're going everywhere. This is so exciting. Humm Kombucha is taking off. And we went everywhere, and oh God, that wasn't the best decision. So, and then the reason is, so we went everywhere at Target, but we also went everywhere else. So then we had this philosophy of sprinkling. So we went to all the big retailers, right? Walmart, Costco, Safeway, Kroger, and we sprinkled the brand all across the country. The issue with that was we had we had a very small marketing budget, so we weren't able to. It was sat on the shelf, and people didn't know what it was. I mean, they knew kombucha at that point. Actually, they really didn't. There really wasn't much kombucha on the shelf. It was really GTs and Humm at that point. And we were still relatively entrepreneurial, and we didn't. There's so many rules, working with these big retailers. There's so many, you have to do promotion calendars, and you have to do all these things. And we were at first it was cool because we were cool and everybody wanted us. But then after a while, when other kombuchas saw what we were doing, and they all started mimicking what we were doing, and then they all started coming in to these big retailers, they knew what they were doing, and they did everything the retailers wanted, and then all of a sudden, Humm wasn't. And so we got kicked out of places. It took a lot to stay on the shelf, and a lot of places we didn't stay on the shelf, so not the best choice.
So I think also during that time, this would have been 2018 actually. So we had our vision out here so much. We were focusing so much on where we were going that we built the army before the war, for lack of a better analogy at this point. But we needed to provide kombucha to Target, to Walmart, to Costco, all these things. And so we hired the people. We bought more fermenters. We were going to build a facility out east in Virginia. We went all in, and we were so focused on here that we missed some of the cues that were happening in front of us, like other kombucha companies coming into Target and to Walmart, like the kombucha category slowing.
So to be fair, though, we were on a rocket ship. This company is growing by the hundreds of percent every year. It was like this. This is why we couldn't get funding, because it was happening so fast. So we were on this crazy rocket ship. We built it. We hired lots of people for the rocket ship to keep going, and the rocket ship didn't keep going.
Yeah.
It flattened out.
Which resulted in us having to lay off 25 people in 2018. And I know that there are tech companies today that are laying off hundreds of thousands of people, and 25 doesn't seem like that many, but for us, it was heart-wrenching. And it was definitely...
I don't think I slept for a year. I was on sleep medication. I don't even take medication. I was on all sorts of stuff. It was crazy. It was really hard. So in hindsight, we would have done it differently, but we didn't know. You don't know what you know. Hindsight's 20/20, right?
So anyway, we've been talking a lot, and always have a story to share, but we figured we'd stop and
Well, before
take
we do that, before we do that, I just I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud of you, and I just want a huge round of applause for you. I'm like laughing hysterically and then also like almost in tears because I was here. I have the Kombucha Mama T-shirt with the lotus petals, and
It's going to be worth money someday.
I mean, it's a thing, like at that time, there was a really, many of you don't know, it was a really interesting time in Bend where we didn't have a lot. But a few things we did have, and Kombucha Mama was one of them. And you two were everywhere. You were at every event. You were supporting everyone. You started popping up all over the place. So, I saw your faces everywhere, and it was a special thing that you created, and that's why we were rooting for you. Also, it did taste really good, and it didn't have that slimy thing that would. And also, I think it does well in Bend because it's helpful for hangovers.
It is, yeah.
And we like to drink.
I don't think we can post that anywhere, but that's true.
I think that's how kombucha initially captured back in 2008. It was it could help you with your hangovers, and be like, I'll try it, Did it? I don't know, but I just am this really is kind of that quintessential entrepreneurial story that I just could not be more proud of you. And you're still together. This is huge. And you have 100 employees? That shocked me. I didn't realize it, but it's amazing. I'm really proud of you all. Questions from the audience? Yes. Can we see the dance?
What dance?
The Ellen Show dance.
Oh.
We haven't had enough kombucha yet today.
If you can get Ellen, we haven't had enough kombucha. I remember being at meetings in TBD, and you'd come in and they'd be like, "Oh, would you like a pint of kombucha for our meeting?" I'd be like, "Oh my God, I would love a pint of kombucha." And then 20 minutes in, you've got a pint of kombucha. You have to leave the meeting to go to the bath. It was really not a perfect system, but at the same time, you couldn't say no. Okay, you have a question.
Oh my
Tell
God.
us more. Hold on one second. Tell us more about the financing conversations that you had.
Banks suck. That is seriously
Columbia.
I'm pretty sure there's a bank sponsor here. You guys are great.
Right now, you got to know you guys suck. You guys suck for small businesses so bad. I'm actually on a board. I'm on Summit Bank's board. I'm like, why do you want me? You guys are awful. And he's like, because we need to get better. I mean, it's
so they
one day if I have a lot of money, I really want to start a thing for entrepreneurs in the place where you can't get financing. Yeah. There is a gap in our system where when you can't get financing, but you need money and you can't grow without money.
That's true. We
really
met a
bad.
lot of great people in the banks that had their hands tied and just weren't able to get what needed to be done.
So what we did was we had friends and family for our first round. And then we did get some bank help. Actually, Summit Bank did step in at some point, and we got some help from them. We got a loan from U.S. Bank for $105,000. That was the biggest deal because we got a lot of equipment from that. And then after our first round, we brought in professional investors. And the reason we did that was we were still a bunch of entrepreneurs, and we really didn't know anything about CPG. So we tagged it genius money. People that really understood and knew CPG. And so we partnered with the most popular at the time, really, one of the best CPG
private
equity for small business. And they're actually a fantastic partner. They helped us through the hard times. They didn't, it was really wonderful.
They're called VMG.
That's what they're called.
Well, you just have.
Okay. Is it VMG or is it VMG?
Is it what?
Is it VMG?
No, it's velocity
It's VMG.
Good.
Okay.
Velocity made good.
Talina, I believe you had a question.
So clearly your culture and your values are so central to your business. What's the struggle or what does the path look like to maintain that through growth?
Okay.
And leadership. Ben is going to have a conversation about this on February 21st, so I will call and ask you on the chat.
They are getting asked to be a part of a very
She's
special
pitching
event.
us.
So she's saying culture and values are so central to your business. Can you talk more about kind of the path to maintaining that and nurturing it? And then also, would you be a part of her event that's coming up? I don't have any details, but it sounds cool.
And here's the date.
Yes. Okay, actually, when we were Kombucha Mama, we had a small startup at the time. Ruth Williamson was one of the people that came in and said, hey, we are working with very, very fast-growing businesses that have a super cool culture in ways that they can maintain that culture amidst fast growth. And so she said, would you be our guinea pigs? We're like, yes. And she said, we don't, we're just getting started, so we won't charge you. We're like, great, we have no money. Here's some kombucha. But what she set up was, it's called Culture in Action, and it's a system that we still actually use today. And it's one of the things that for every meeting, for example, we take a minute, we check in, we do attentions, we do stories, we do appreciations, and it's something that has been with us since Kombucha Mama. But one of the things that I think we talk a lot about culture. Culture is the people that are in it, right? So we have these culture keepers that volunteer every quarter, and they grow. We have our tenets of who we are, of appreciation, of love notes, et cetera, but they expand it to the place that we're in now. So we just put a lot of effort into it.
We also talk about it all the time. I mean, anybody at Humm knows the core values. Like, it doesn't sit on a wall. We talk about it, we live it, because it's so important. We hired Matt through that. I mean, really trying to find like a Red Bull Monster guy, or can you imagine, or Red Bull, whatever, Miller Coors. Can you imagine like bringing somebody like this in and having them buy into your values? And really, we wouldn't have it any other way. And he was really bought into this idea of taking exceptional care and other things. Yeah.
It's very nice. Yes, in the back.
You mentioned you have a board, is that correct?
You have
Yes.
a board, is that correct? Yes.
Financially, did you decide to start a board, and what inspired that?
At what point financially did you decide to start a board, and what inspired that?
What inspired it is we were a bunch of entrepreneurs that didn't really know a lot of people, and we also didn't have anybody to bounce our ideas off of. So we thought it'd be a good idea to have some business people that actually maybe might know what they're doing in other areas and bounce ideas off of them and see what they thought. And the other thing, too, is we did an advisory board first. So we didn't pay anybody anything. They all just got a lot of kombucha, which they still do. I think we might pay them now.
There's a theme, a lot of kombucha.
It was always about kombucha. I mean, we didn't pay people. We had people that would start working for a couple months and they got kombucha first, and then we would pay them if it worked out. I mean, even Matt, he worked for a couple of months before he got paid. It was a common theme. So we didn't have any money, but we had a lot of kombucha. So anyway, we started with an advisory board, which we didn't pay anyone, and that was for quite a while. We never paid anyone cash. We paid them in shares much later, I would say a couple years later. And thank goodness the board was having a lot of fun. I mean, we were quite the party. And, they had to really, like, tone us down because we were saying yes to the NFL and all these things. And they're like, holy shit, what are you guys doing? This is crazy. But we did pay them with shares eventually. No cash. Never cash because we didn't have cash.
How big were you when you started that?
This was just at the transition from Kombucha Mama to Humm. So I think it was right around the time that we took that first round in from friends and family.
25 people. But again, our vision was we were going to be huge and we needed a bunch of stuff. So while we were only that big right then, we were actually thinking about how big we were going to be and kind of thought we were a little bit bigger anyway. Yeah.
Yes.
Could be a simple question, but I'm just curious, how did you get in touch with, say, the Deschutes CEO or the Deschutes?
How did you get in touch with the Deschutes
Oh,
CEO?
this is awesome.
How did you get in touch with Gary? Just like
I mean,
Facebook.
we picked up the phone and called. It's amazing what you can do.
Old school.
When you freaking pick up the phone.
Renegades.
I mean, all these millennials today, my God, with the texting. I remember, like, we had these millennials on our staff, and we would have them do something, and they'd be texting and emailing people, and they're like, God, I'm not hearing anything. Oh, it's amazing. You know what would be amazing if you just pick up the phone? And they look at you like you are from another planet, and then you pick up the phone, and you make the phone call, and you get it done, and you look at them, and they're like, they can't deny it. So we actually just picked up the phone, and we called people, And we weren't worried that people weren't gonna help. And honestly, most people really want to help. Like, people want to help. Just gotta ask.
Well, and they want to be a part of something cool, and this has always been
But we
cool.
weren't cool.
But
We
it is
weren't
cool.
even
It's so
remotely
not
cool
cool. It's
then.
cool. That's what it is.
We were cool to us, but we weren't
cool.
remotely
It was like
cool to
it was
anybody
like
else.
this kind of cool. It's like that. It's like that. That's like cool now. Yeah, it's like cargo pants are cool now. Did you know that? Yeah, it's like that.
I didn't
yeah,
know.
well, that's what I'm told. So I want to talk about some of your newer products because you have like a zero sugar. What was the genesis on that?
Zero sugar specifically. So we, sugar's a thing, right?
It sure is.
And as kombucha has always been a relatively low sugar health beverage, but there was no zero sugar. So it was this idea of continuing to innovate in the category that we were in, right? So why not figure out how to make it zero sugar? And with that, so we had a zero sugar, and then just shortly after that, we added a Whole30. Like our R&D team, like they're so amazing. They can make stuff that every product that we put out, I feel like is better because these guys are so good at their job. And so we partnered with the Whole30, so that's zero sugar even in the fermentation process. We figured out how to do that. And then most recently, you were asking about new products. We launched a probiotic seltzer and a probiotic soda. So it was our first launch outside of kombucha that just happened last year, which we're really excited about. As we are building this brand, one of the things from switching from Kombucha Mama to Humm, Kombucha Mama is like kombucha in the name. Humm was a name that was it was more accessible, and it was fun. It described
It's a four-letter word.
Yeah. It's a four-letter.
It was a four-letter
She
word. It's pretty
loves
simple.
four-letter words.
Everybody knows what Humm is.
Are you flashing back to that branding meeting, or were you just like, oh, these
The
two?
four-letter word. It was
These
3
two.
when it started.
Now they
actually.
love
it
it.
only had one M.
Now they
know,
love
I
it.
will tell you what on the zero sugar. This is really interesting, you guys. So we Pepsi and Coke are all they own kombucha companies, right? The big brands are all Pepsi, Coke, and big brands. So get this. They all lie on their labels about how much sugar they put in their product. And because, do you really not know this?
No, I mean, come on.
And because it's not a
drama.
regulated category, because it's still such a small category, they can get away with it. They get a lot of lawsuits. They just pay the lawsuits. And so for us, we were watching these brands. They have like 20, 30 grams of sugar per bottle. It's supposed to be a health food beverage. And we were like, this is ridiculous. This is so not okay. So a couple years ago, you got a question? Yeah. A couple years ago, a law came out that said you can't, they would put like 3.8 servings on the bottle to like say that they had, 4 grams of sugar. And so a law came out where it was like, you had to label what was in the bottle. And all of a sudden, there were a lot of lawsuits, so people started claiming a little bit more. They'd say 18 grams or 19 grams or 16 grams. And we were like, people were sticker shock. And if people actually knew how much sugar is in the kombucha that they drink. So Michelle and I have had this thing called what you see is what you sip, and it's all about integrity. I can just tell people, there is a better way to do this. There is a better way to run business. And so that really inspired this whole low sugar umbrella, which zero sugar came out of.
So cool.
Yeah.
And the packaging is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. God,
An
yes.
alcoholic canned beverage. Have you
We've
ever
thought
thought
about
doing an
alcohol,
alcoholic canned
CBD, all that?
We live in Bend, and we're borderline alcoholics. I mean, we all are. We live here. Look how many breweries we have per capita. Yes, we've talked about alcohol. I just talked about... Thank you.
She
I
says
agree.
it's delicious with vodka.
It's delicious with whiskey as well. The blueberry mint and whiskey, it's so good. It makes such a good mixer.
We just talked about it last month, actually. We pitched
Mango
it, and the
passion
CEO
fruit.
said no.
Zero sugar.
Focus. He said focus. We have to focus.
And then you were like, hear
We're
me out.
focusing.
Zero sugar, but a tiny bit of cocaine. just a tiny bit. It's an energy drink. Get your real focus. It's organic, free-range cocaine, but it is cocaine, so it's not for kids. I'm really sweating now. Any other questions from the audience? It's starting to get a little wild. Yes, in the hat. Mm. Gather Nuts is in your original location.
Oh, yay, congrats, that's so cool.
They want to follow in your footsteps. They want to be the official nuts of the NFL. I believe in you guys. I believe in you guys. It's funny.
You're amazing.
Who else wants to come into this party? Any other questions? Okay. Okay, well, so this is really fun because our keynotes, this is our tradition. You always get the giant stein.
Wow.
You can come get it
We didn't
filled
get
with
this last time.
kombucha, and you can have a whole new microbiome with that much brand new kombucha in you. I am just applauding you and cheering you on, and it's been such an honor to watch you all do this. I mean, I have chills just even trying to get the words out to you because it is really such a special thing that you've done. So keep going, and I'm glad that you're taking care of yourselves. I mean, I hope that you are. Seems like you are, so keep doing that. Yeah. Any final parting words? This has been such a good time. Yes. Leave nothing behind. You did it. You put it all up here.
Great.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
Thank you. So amazing. And I'm hoping that your car did not get towed. Seriously, you should probably call someone just in case. I'll give you a ride home if you need. Or to the tow yard. Is that where they take it? To the tow yard? Wow. How about another round of applause for Jamie and Michelle? And as you've said, you didn't do this alone. You really were held well by our community, and you also took care of us. So that's how that works. It's been such a pleasure, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. This is a good time. We have some upcoming events. As Kelsey mentioned, EDCO's Prineville Crook County annual luncheon is right around the corner on February 9th. It's at Brasada Ranch, such a treat. Space is limited. It's always a good turnout, so I would register as soon as possible if you're planning to attend. And I will say thank you for coming out tonight. Thanks for starting the year off right. Special thanks to Worthy Brewing. Again, y'all did amazing. It's been such a pleasure to be here. It was such a great change of scenery for us. Thank you, Hand in Hand Productions, for making it happen. And we'll see you in a month. Thanks so much. Good night.